Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Chicken to God. I can't believe I'm making this video, but people be forgetting, bro. People be forgetting. Jake fought UI Daniel alongside Samuel. This is why I have Jake and Samuel the same ranking, and I have Jake above Jerry, and I have Jake above current regular Daniel. So let me explain. Chill. Let me explain. So you remember when Jake defeated Zhuang, whatever, right? Straight after that, imagine he just went through a tough fight, won the fight, broke that man's leg, and he was already beat down. Then he was fighting Samuel. Then UI Daniel showed up, and then UI Daniel fought Samuel and Jake, and he won. But during that fight, Jerry got knocked out by UI Daniel. Jake did not. Jake pulverized UI Daniel into walls and concrete and all type of situations. And then he got shoved into walls and concrete and all type of situations. And he was still sitting down and conscious. Same as Samuel. Despite getting absolutely obliterated, they gained consciousness immediately after. Everybody else was out. Everybody else that got touched by UI Daniel, including Johan, were completely out of it. But guess the two people that wasn't was Samuel and Jake, meaning their durability should be higher than Jerry's, right? Now, we don't know if Jerry was kind of holding back, but there's no reason for him to pretend to get knocked out. He got knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He could have just be hurt and sit up, but he was out of it, completely knocked out. Johan was relative enough to UI Daniel, regardless of him getting knocked out, but it also showcases that his durability is less than Samuel and Jake's, right? Do I think Johan defeats, especially current Johan, do I think he defeats Jake and Samuel? Probably. That's fine. But durability-wise, not on the same level. And we know that UI Daniel hits harder than Johan. And these guys tanked those hits and were, they couldn't necessarily fight, but they were still conscious and able to probably continue. But they were like, ain't no point. We're going to lose. Then Gu showed up, and Gu was getting spracked up by UI Daniel. But we know Gu always gets hit. Gu doesn't really care about defending. I think he's always trolling. He's also never serious. As stated by Tom, like, Gu is like really never serious in a fight unless he has something that resembles a sword. And when he did, he almost killed Daniel, basically. He doesn't really fight without a weapon. So if it's just hand to hand, he's kind of like, I don't really want to punch you, bro. Like, I kind of want to hit you with something. So he's kind of like that. And we know that, obviously Gu fought Gun twice, and both outcomes were unknown. First time, they just basically drew, and Gun respected Gu, like, okay, yeah, this guy is actually on my level. And we know Gun isn't the type of person to just put somebody on his level. He's the type to acknowledge you, like, okay, you're strong. But to say, like, but he always follows it up, but, I'm still beat your ass. With Gu, there was no, but I still beat his ass. It was kind of like, okay, like, I get you. You know what I'm saying? And then Gu picked a fight against Gun a second time. So, and then that's when, Gun basically wears glasses now because he almost died because he has a big scar on his eye and his face, and he almost died as a result of it. And then, Gu then shattered his bones and has steel pins on his back. So both of them nearly killed each other. And they're still like best friends type shit. Because I think, again, they both realize, like, okay, this guy, would probably both die if we fought. Neither of them are scared to fight anybody. So that's kind of important here. I made a tier list video, but there were so many details I forgot that I ended up deleting it. And imagine it was 30-minute video, and I had to delete it because, like, there was just too much. But mainly I wanted to focus on Jake. I talked about Gu a little bit because, and Gun, because obviously, Daniel got trained under Gun. But we know that, normal Daniel is nowhere near the level of Gun. Or Gu. It's just Gun taught him all the moves. And Daniel knows the moves, but doesn't have the speed or the strength, right? And this is important here because when he tried to copy James Lee, Ji Chung, the guy with the chopper hand, said it like, oh, like, initially your move scared me, but you don't have the speed. You don't have the speed for it. You know what I'm saying? And we know that Daniel, regular Daniel, excuse me, got briefly knocked out by Ji Chong, who wasn't fully serious. And he needed to get saved by Hudson, and Jake. So then when somebody commented in my video like, "Oh, what could Jake do that Daniel can't do?" He fought off against UI regular not UI special Daniel. The fuck? And he was still conscious. He got his shit after he already fought Zhang, whatever the fuck, the guy with the metal, the sword thingy. The guy with the long fucking sight weapon. Like, what? After he fought a full-on fight, he was going into and he had a fight with Samuel. He was already gassed, already injured, already hurt. He still got hit by UI Daniel a ton. Defended Jerry, right? And Jerry got knocked out after regardless. Jake was back up fighting again, and then got thrown through a fucking brick wall. Then Johan showed up. Johan took over the fight because, Jake needed to recover from fucking getting slapped through a wall. And he was still grand. And I don't think this regular Daniel is on that level. Now, this UI Daniel might be on that level. But again, he doesn't quite have the speed. Right? And one of the other reasons why I think Jake is stronger, there's a reason. It didn't make any narrative sense whatsoever for Jake to let himself lose against Zhang the second time, right? It made no sense that he decided, because Zhang loves whatever this girl is, that, I should just concede the battle and hurt myself so that he can go find the girl of his dreams that he wants to be with. It made no sense for Jake to do that because, A, Jake doesn't like the guy. Jake doesn't know the guy. Jake doesn't owe the guy anything. And Jake needed to save Big Deal. But if you think about it from the author's perspective, he put himself in a pickle. If Jake loses, doesn't make sense because Jake is stronger than the guy. Even though he was handicapped, he was still stronger than everybody there. He beat all the guys. Then he was also beating this guy, and he was about to basically almost kill him. But the problem is, if Jake wins that fight, then Jake makes it to the Big Deal thing where Gunn and James Lee pull up. James Lee's not going to offer the same hit me once bullshit to Jake because Jake will 100% hit him. We know Jake fought Gunn and hit Gunn. We know that. We know he lost, but we know that Gunn was definitely hit. So there was no way James Lee was not going to get hit. Which showcases his speed and strength. And we saw that he hit UI Daniel into a brick wall, whatever kind of wall, and it broke right through it. And we know that this current Daniel got knocked out briefly and was about to lose if Hudson and them the guys didn't pull up. And we know for a fact Jake wasn't going to be knocked out or lose to those hits because he's taken way more hits against UI Daniel and kept going. Even when he let himself get hit by one of UI Daniel's stronger kicks to the jaw in order to protect Jerry. You know what I'm saying? The same Jerry that withstood an absolute beatdown from Gunn. And we know this because A, Gunn, we know wasn't going all out against Jerry because he didn't need to. And B, we know that the Jake pre-prison is a hell of a lot weaker than Jake post-prison. You know what I'm saying? He even did a feat greater than Gunn in prison. So we know that Jake escalated exponentially. And he hasn't lost a fight since then, minus against Shunhan, only because I think he cares about Shunhan and he's not really trying to fight him. And B, he lost a fight against UI Daniel. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think it makes sense to say that current Daniel, even though he's a lot stronger, is stronger than Jake. There's nothing to showcase that he is. He has more technique. But, I mean, the Johan that lost to Samuel the Johan that lost to Samuel still had more technique than Samuel. Samuel has never showcased technique. Samuel still won. He still beat Eli. He still beat Jake. And he beat Johan by himself. Despite him having no technique. Technique has never been the end-all, be-all. Gu has, fuck all technique. What kind of technique does Gu show apart from, when anything resembles a sword? He's just a brawler. He just be hitting with timber, with whatever he has. He just be fighting carelessly. You know what I'm saying? Only when he has a sword in his hand, like Tom said, does he get serious. And this is important. This is why I brought up Gu earlier. So fighting technique does not mean shit. Yes, current Daniel has more finesse and more technique. Jake is way stronger and has way more durability. So that's the problem right now. This Daniel will 100% be stronger. We know that, narratively speaking, it just makes sense. But we also know that Jake's importance to the story and narrative is way higher than we initially thought. Because A, his dad is the Zero Generation king, and his brother is, allegedly the ruler of Seoul. And he's big deal. So it's his rightful position to be the actual ruler of this generation, right? And his generation includes, or the second generation, which includes Johan and Daniel and Vasco and all of that. And a lot of people think that the older generation is stronger than the current generation. I don't really think so. I just think that the current generation hasn't reached their peak yet. You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know. I just think it doesn't make sense for Daniel to be stronger than Jake, narratively speaking. And if we just look at their opponents, this current Daniel has only fought Ji Chong and he was losing, and then he went UI and he still could have lost. Excuse me, because it looked like that attack that both of them were going to do to each other was going to knock out both of them more than likely, which is kind of a draw. And that still doesn't showcase high durability. And he also didn't have the speed required to fully do UI to the level of like a gun, right? And we know that Johan has the UI his own UI version, and we know this Daniel has a UI version, but we know that UI isn't the end all be all. Gu has zero UI, and he still fights head toe to toe with gun, no problem. You know what I'm saying? So, and he beat Johan, and he fought UI Daniel, and UI Daniel kind of passed out because he like gassed, but like it was looking like Gu was about to murk him, because once he had the sword in his hand, UI Daniel couldn't really do anything to Gu anymore, because he was no longer just taking hits like a dummy, which he normally does. He just doesn't care. And this current Daniel has never fought anybody on the level of UI Daniel. So I just and Jake, yes, he was with Samuel, but he was keeping up relatively. And we know UI Daniel would smoke 3-4 Daniels, this current Daniel, no problem. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Just if we look at relatives and the type of opponents. So I don't really see why somebody thinks that this Daniel is stronger than Jake just because he has more technique. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Again, we know technique is not the end all be all. There's a lot of people with more technique than stronger people, but they lose anyway because the other people are stronger. You know what I'm saying? Even Zhang, whatever the fuck, the guy with the sit, he has more technique than Jake. Jake wins anyway. Doesn't matter. He choked him out. Broke his fucking leg and shit. Doesn't matter, bro. He's more durability, more strength, and a much better grappler. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, been your boy Supreme God. I'm out.